SkyCell is a purpose-led technology company whose mission is to create safe, secure, and sustainable solutions for the supply chain, especially the pharma sector. Hybrid essentially is leveraging on the advantages of both the active and the passive technology that exists today. 1500X has an unprecedented independent runtime of 270 hours.
Hey Danielle, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you, Linda. My pleasure to be here too.
To start off, could you please provide us with some background information about yourself and SkyCell?
Sure. I lead up the SkyCell Asia Pacific as his head of sales. So I work very closely with my team in Asia to drive the adoption of the SkyCell technology, which is a relatively new, but it's also superior, which we hope as many of our stakeholders likes to use. And my background is predominantly the last 20 years in the healthcare logistics area. I was a lot of the years in freight forwarding, but all those times was working very closely with the pharmaceutical and healthcare client manufacturers located in Asia to develop new solutions to make supply chain more efficient and easier and better. So, and I hope to do that through SkyCell now. SkyCell is a purpose-led technology company whose mission is to create safe, secure, and sustainable solutions for the supply chain, especially the pharma sector. And we do it through a combination of hybrid temperature control containers, as well as digitalization technology and big data.
What sets SkyCell apart from other established cold chain container companies in the market, considering its relatively young age of just 10 years?
I think being a late entrant has its benefit. We quite pride ourselves on having the most technological advanced containers, what we call hybrid, which is really a new thing that we pioneer in the aviation sector. So what is hybrid? Hybrid essentially is leveraging on the advantages of both the active and the passive technology that exists today. And it is a reusable phase change material as a coolant, but it has active properties. In a way, hybrid means that it's able, or our container is able to recharge itself automatically just by placing the container in a cool environment like what is typically found in the airport cold room or a reverse charge. And a hybrid container does not require the use of electrical power source or any other ways or lithium battery to recharge it. It just charges on its own. So in the very complex air freight operations of a pharmaceutical supply chain, this technology takes away all the risk and complexity. It makes it much more simpler, and therefore it allows the freight forwarders, the airline, and the pharma company to really simplify the operations and able to protect the integrity of their pharma cargo when it's moving from end to end.
Excellent. Let's discuss SkyCell's latest hybrid container, the 1500X. What does 1500X refer to, and how does it differentiate from existing temperature-controlled containers in the market?
Okay, yeah, it's our modern name, 1500X. So we had a range of container that caters to the different temperature range that is required of the pharmaceutical sector. Like for example, there is deep frozen, frozen, chilled, and the CRT, control room temperature. And 1500X is to cater to particularly 2 to 8 degrees Celsius and 15 to 25. So what does the 1500 actually stands for? Actually, it is the inner volume of the container. And it means that it can hold up to 1,500 liters of cargo. In the supply chain, that will mean a US pallet or EU pallet. But because we run on the phase change material where we allow that the cargo can actually touch a wall, it does allow pharma company to utilize the entire inner volume of the containers without the need for any space for air circulations. So that's what the 1500 actually stands for. So what does the X stand for? X stands for three things: um, performance, protection, and efficiency. So performance is this is a containers that has a superior independent runtime, which is usually how pharma company qualify a containers based on how much they can last for a specific temperature range. So 1500X has an unprecedented independent runtime of 270 hours. That is by far a world record. And I think it allows for companies to have more peace of mind when they are using the container to go through a very treacherous journey of, let's say, from Korea to Brazil, or a very long journey. It definitely helps take away a lot of the risk. The second X means protection. So with the design of the container, it has a better fit to absorb the shock. So the containers can absorb up to 90% of all the shock that is being faced with throughout its journey. It has also a double door to take away the humidity so the cargo remains dry. And most importantly, with the 1500X, it's installed with the latest IoT with logger that can monitor its location, temperature, and thus allow pharma and freight forwarders to be able to track the containers in real time. And I think that helps them to protect the cargo. And the last X, which is efficiency. So this is by far on the single pallet containers, one of the lightest and thinnest container while still maintain a very high quality. And what its benefit is cost. So imagine having a lighter and smaller container to move through the door-to-door air freight operations from trucking to airline. It does allow airlines right now to better handle it in a more fuel efficient model. And we believe that with a smaller and lighter container, it does bring on the benefit of cost efficiency, because right now you just require less effort, less fuel to bring the containers and the cargo from end to end. And I think this is one thing the pharma company definitely allow. And one more thing to mention, that because it is so small, for the first time, you could put 4 containers into one PMC. And PMC is what they call it an airline pallet on the aircraft, which is when you are able to fit 4 of this container onto a PMC, it does have this economy of scale effect where airline is able to bring on this additional saving because you're making the best use of the airline pallet, and therefore the benefit to the pharma company will therefore be a lower cost. So hope that is good.
In light of potential disruption to air freight operations and the risk of temperature excursions due to factors like customs delays, global warming, what advice would you give to potential shippers to ensure the integrity of their cargo?
Yeah. So when it comes to shipping high value, crucial life saving medicine like vaccine and biologics drugs, it is really crucial to be able to anticipate and deal with all the potential disruption that we face today in the supply chain. And we are happy to say that actually there are tools out there that enable such action to be done. So like for SkyCell, we had a special secure platform that now allows for a pharma company to simulate the entire operation digitally and predict risk. And therefore, if you can predict risk, then you can anticipate and deal with it. And the secondly was that when you are actually moving the cargo through the operations, there is also the visibility platform that allows the pharma company and their 3PLs, freight forwarders, that they can have a real-time monitoring of the cargo or the containers, what location it is at, what is the temperature it is in, and what is the cargo condition. And this real-time visibility does allow forwarders to be able to anticipate and intervene when something happens, so that they can save the drugs from being destroyed. So this is important. The next advice will be that in terms of selection of logistics partner like freight forwarder, trucking, and airline, I think it is also crucial to know that there are certain airlines that is a little bit more competent in able to deal with this unanticipated factor, especially in cold chain handling. They are trained, they have people who are aware of what they need to do when things happen. And then I think it's important for pharma company to select the right partners when they are moving the cargo.
As the world moves toward Industry 4.0 and digital technologies such as IoT, big data analytics, and AI are increasingly relevant, how does SkyCell leverage these advancements as a packaging company?
So that's a very interesting question because many people would think that SkyCell is just a cold chain packaging company, but it's actually very much in our DNA since our founding year 10 years ago that digitalization was fully embraced right from the start. So we had developed our own proprietary software, what we call SkyCell Secure, which allow us to collect a lot of information about the environment which the pharma cargo had to face with. And this secure allowed us to combine operation data, which is what actually happened to the cargo, with simulation data. It is actually very interesting because imagine you can actually know whether a planned shipment is going according to plan or deviating, and therefore able to anticipate or even intervene timely before a disaster happens. It is actually the software that allows such a thing to be able to be done. Previously, you can only react only when things has happened, but
Right.
now maybe potentially you can do the intervention before. So that is a very powerful technology. So we believe that this software or this digitalization tool and IoT allow us and our customers to make very data-driven decisions and able to anticipate risk and deal with it very proactively.
That's impressive. So, how can users access and utilize SkyCell containers for transporting critical cold chain products? Could you explain the availability and logistics of acquiring and utilizing the containers?
Sure. We have tried to make containers available and accessible by pharma companies as easy as possible. And the way we do that is by strategically curate the location of service centers where shipment is most bound to happen. So if you know SkyCell, we focus predominantly on the biologics, vaccine API, or high-value drugs manufacturing or logistics center. And we know that in Asia, this is predominantly in Singapore, Australia, China, Korea, Japan. These are the most common places. Of course, India as well. And this is where we also had our service center. So other than the service center, we have also a network of our strategic airlines who are trained by us, and they could also be an alternative source whereby shipper and freight forwarder can go to get access to the containers. So that is also an alternative for the freight forwarders.
If someone is interested in leasing a SkyCell container, what is the process they would need to follow?
It's actually very easy. So we make SkyCell container available on a rental basis, which is actually a much simpler transaction for forwarder and pharma companies. So if anybody was be interested to book a SkyCell containers, it's very easy. They just had to get direct access to our country sales representative directly, or they can go to them through our website, and there will be a process to help them with booking of the containers. So what the sales rep will be doing will be asking a set of questions to understand the temperature requirement of what the pharma company needs, and they will guide them through and advise on the proper containers selections, and therefore help them with the booking process. So it's quite easy.
Finally, as the head of Sales Asia Pacific, could you share SkyCell's future plans and expansion strategies for the APAC region?
Yeah, we had a very ambitious plan for Asia Pacific. Um, we are definitely looking to expand our presence and also build our strategic relationship with more stakeholders, including the pharmaceutical companies, freight forwarders, and airline. And in anticipation of the growth that we had, we are also beefing up on infrastructure, like building more service centers and the scope of the service centers so that they can bring or make containers much more available to the markets in Asia. And also lastly, we are definitely bringing in more talent, like supply chain experts within the companies to create more value and solutions to serve the pharma sector in Asia.
Fantastic. Daniel, thank you so much for sharing valuable insights into SkyCell's products and future plans. It was great to learn more about SkyCell, and it was my pleasure speaking with you today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Linda. Great to be here.
Thank you.
Thank you.